Oh, hey everyone. You know who it is. It's your buddy, Antoine the Fantoine. Best teeth in the game. And pretty sure some guy saw me today, recognized me, but it's funny because sometimes people, they look at me and they know it's me or they think it's me, and they look at me and they'll just like keep doing this. Like I catch you like looking at me like 5 times. Like I know that you know it's me, or I know that you think it's me. So I mean, if you've done that, just come up and say hi, because it's just annoying otherwise. In this video, I want to say this new fucking season of South Park has been fucking essential. I gotta say, I have to say, since the 2000s. South Park has not always been on point. I feel like a lot of the social battles that the show fought and a lot of the people that it was offending upon its initial release, they've all kind of either gotten used to it, or they've grown thicker skin, or they've disappeared into the ether, or they just don't even really like exist anymore, you know? So there's not really anybody for them to battle it out with, you know, and just kind of really take a piss on and just tear apart in the limelight. And I think the recent seasons, the most recent 5 seasons, have certainly had their moments, although they've really had their lows as well. Like those last 2 episodes of the last season were just god awful. Rehash in the the episode with Pootie Pie was just awful. But I digress. But they've really come back with a fucking vengeance on this new season for a myriad of different reasons. It seems like our recent addiction to just sensitivity and just really kind of policing speech and making sure that the things that we say and the way that we express ourselves is just free of anything that could possibly offend anybody, has really kind of given the show a bit of a breath of fresh air, something to really just lampoon, and I think it's kind of given the show purpose in a sense, because as ridiculous and as absurd as a lot of the early episodes were, there certainly was a purpose to a lot of what was going on. You know, the absurdity, the lewdness, the crudeness to it was certainly meant to kind of get at people, you know, and just break balls and really just rustle some feathers. And, you know, I think that the type of comedy that South Park delivers doesn't really turn that many heads anymore. And as a result, again, I don't think they've really had a target to sort of fire their comedy at these days. Okay, so I have written down several of the things that South Park is really kind of getting at with this new season that I think is making the season so entertaining. One is this commercialized consciousness that we see on the show. People in the town, they're well-intentioned, they're well-meaning, they're very aware of all these social issues, but it really only seems to be to the end of making the town more marketable, getting a Whole Foods, you know, shopping at this bougie, hoity-toity, overpriced, total bullshit grocery store, just so that you could know in your heart of hearts that you're doing the right thing. You're making a difference in some kind of way. And it's not really fixing anything. It's not really activism. It's just kind of narcissism. It's not you know, true revolutionary thought or true activism or people really making a difference. It's just kind of like this this money-making version of activism that we're happy to take part in because it makes us feel good and it makes us feel like we're doing something, when really all we're doing is putting money in the pockets of corporations. I mean, that's really it. Which, I mean, you know, I have no problem with making money and doing business, but you know, I guess I just kind of hate the idea of kind of willingly pulling the wool over your eyes and convincing yourself that, you know, you're doing this really good thing when, you know, all you're really doing is just being somebody else's buck, honestly. The advertisements subplot in the episode is building up into something very freaky, very strange, and very interesting. And I like the statement that they're making with just the way the news has kind of gone, print news has just gone into the shitter. I mean, people certainly predicted it as happening as newspapers sort of fell and people started going online to get news because they didn't want to pay for it anymore to read it in the paper. And as a result, just all this stuff like sponsored content. And I get offered to do this shit too on my website. People hit me up at least a couple times a month and ask me, hey, do you want to start putting articles on your website? We've already written them. We've already written the articles. Do you want to put the articles on your website that have to do with concert tickets and going to festivals and stuff like that? And I feel fortunate to be in a position where, with what I'm doing with YouTube, I don't need to do this native advertising. A lot of them call it native advertising. I don't feel the need to do this sponsored content or anything like that. You guys, through these classic reviews that I do every month, through watching the reviews and thumbing them up and commenting, I'm able to sort of do what I do on YouTube and keep it, free of not advertisements, but I guess advertisements that trick you into thinking that they're not advertisements, which I just find really disturbing. Any website that would engage in such things, because it's just, and I understand why, bottom line, but it's still disturbing because it sounds like a lie. It is a lie in a lot of ways because you're making people think they're getting news when they're really not. You're really just kind of bullshitting them. So. And then the third and the biggest sort of theme that's been running through all these episodes is censorship via sensitivity, especially with the latest episode with PC principal not liking the use of the word retarded in the school newspaper. And the thing is, this episode sort of poses sort of a paradox to this PC culture debate that has been pointed out by numerous people thus far. But what do you do when the very group of people, and this happens quite often, especially on the internet where people are trying to police language, what do you do when the group of, when someone within the group of people who you're trying to help because you see them as marginalized acts in a way that you think should be offensive to them, or acts in a way where you think they're hurting the group that they're a part of, and so on and so forth. It's kind of this bit of mental gymnastics people have to engage in, because it's like in their world where they see everybody as like collectives and labels and groups, they can't think of people as individuals. And it just kind of creates a bit of a mindfuck moment for them, for people who sort of, advocate this sort of language policing and coddling, which was another fantastic episode where they kind of went at safe spaces, where essentially people are just kind of butthurt because not everybody on the internet has something nice to say about them. People say horrific shit to me all the fucking time in my stupid fucking videos. And, if you put yourself out there, it's just gonna happen. I'm sorry. People saying mean stuff to you on the internet isn't important. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Also, making fun of Trump, the extreme prejudices kind of existing in our society currently. We're so fucking polarized over so much shit. And I loved the episode where they were making fun of sort of ISIS and ninjas and Officer Bar Brady, and how, like shooting kids is wrong, and, sort of they threw a jab at the militarized police force a little bit. And it was funny how they were so cautious. They needed to be so careful. They couldn't be, sort of shooting any minority children or, beating up any homeless people or anything like that. But as soon as ISIS comes into play, just all the stops are pulled out. And it doesn't even matter. Do we have all the information? Do we know this? Do we know that? No, just go kill them. Which is very much the attitude that we have, since, we're so permissible when it comes to just kind of, nobody's complaining about drone strikes being launched constantly onto completely innocent people in a country far, far away, but we're more worried about whether or not people are saying mean things to us on the internet. But yeah, that's essentially why I think this new season of South Park has been really good. And if you don't like my opinion, fuck you. I said that because I just thought about this guy who told me on Twitter, he was like, "Look, how old are you? Laughing at jokes like this, 10? How old are you, 10? I'm Mr. Maturity, reminding people of what age they should be acting on the Twitter." Fuck you, part 2.